Love this podcast? Support this show through the Acast supporter feature. It's up to you how much you give, and there's no regular commitment. Just click the link in the show description to support now.
Strictly for the culture. Brothers and sisters, you have seen the t-shirts, the hats, the hoodies, the mugs in the hands of some of your favorite pro wrestling stars, podcasters, and influencers out there. And now it's time. Visit strictlyfortheculture.ca and you too can be part of the movement. Bigger than sweatshirts and commercial success, Strictly for the Culture aims to build with like-minded people and elevate their position in the world through knowledge, self-love, and a desire to unite. So what are you waiting on? Visit strictlyfortheculture.ca. Do it for the love. Do it for the knowledge. Most importantly, folks, do it strictly for the culture.
You're locked in.
Look at what we have here, folks.
To the only show that matters.
The cream of the crop.
Duke Loves Rasslin.
And there is no one that does it better than
your host.
I have come here to chew bubblegum and kick ass.
The Duke.
And I'm all out of bubblegum.
Brothers and sisters, welcome back to another edition of Devon and the Duke, a limited podcast series starring myself, Duke Loves Rasslin, and of course the Hall of Famer, one of the greatest of all time, one of the most decorated wrestlers of all time, Mr. Devon Dudley, who is running a little late right now, folks, but have no fear, because we have a special guest that you have been requesting since episode 2 when Devon spoke about his amazing friendship with this person and her family. So without further ado, legitimately a real-life shero, not a hero, shero. Someone who has put her life on the line for our nation. Someone who has put her life on the line to entertain all of us. She's a wife. She's a mother. She's a business owner. Most importantly, she's a great person. Macey Estrella, a.k.a. Lacey Evans. Welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It is going fantastic. Oh, who's that? Who's that with you there?
This is little Sunny. She decided to join me today.
I love it. Hello, Sunny. How you doing?
Hi.
Are you taking care of Mom over there?
Yes.
I love it. I love it. What do we have for breakfast this morning, Sunny?
Pancakes.
And bacon.
Oh, pancakes. I love it. I love it. And bacon. Okay, that's a big breakfast. All right. Wow. So you're going to grow up and have big muscles like Mommy.
Yes.
Macey, I know you have your new business there. It's a cafe, right?
Yes, it's a mental health cafe in the town of Beaufort, where I was stationed.
So what made you decide to open up that cafe in Beaufort?
I've always, so I've been planning it about 2 years into my final goodbye exit out of WWE. It's just always been a goal of mine in order to, give back to my community through uplifting ways, and caffeine being one of them. So yeah, we're really excited. Yes. You want me to be quiet? Are you going to say something? Are you going to tell them about the cafe?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Sunny Summers Cafe, so it's named after my girls.
Cafe.
Yeah. And I get to be with my kids.
I love it. Well, Sunny, what's your favorite thing at the cafe? What do you like to get at the cafe, Sunny?
Sprinkles.
Oh, boy. Okay. Sprinkles. All right. So we're going to have to visit that cafe sometime and get the Sunny breakfast with the sprinkles. How about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm talking.
And ladies and gentlemen, we have our main man has joined us now, Mr. Devon Dudley. Devon, how you doing, brother?
Good. How you guys doing? What's up, Lace?
Hey, Devon, what's up, man?
Living the dream somewhat.
You're late.
Well, Deep.
I know. Sorry, I was on the phone. I was trying to get everything together with the school supplies and everything with Taylor. I was trying to hurry up, but it was just no stopping.
Oh, I feel you, man.
That is
And
the
we saw.
life of being a super parent.
Oh well, that's the way it is. I mean, Lacey knows.
That's right. That's right. Devon, it's funny. You and I have been teasing this for a couple weeks now, having Lacey on the show because you had spoken in depth about your friendship with Macey, which is her real name. Everyone knows her as Lacey. Your friendship with her and her family, and how great she's been to you and what have you. So, folks wanted to hear from Macey herself and hear her perspective on this. So I want to start there. Macey, Devon Dudley, of all the people in the world to strike up such a great friendship with, what the heck are you doing striking up a friendship with this guy?
Man, it was, him and Scotty Too Hottie. I'm telling you right now, they are people that I could call at any time, no matter what. And I think the reason me and Devon hit it off so well is I think it's just our passion with family. We were sitting at an airport. We were on tour. It was one of the weekends that I didn't have my kids with me, my husband with me, because they normally travel all the time with me. And he saw that, as you can hear my baby behind me right now, he just saw that I was like kind of down, and he's like, "Hey, get your head up. This is, part of this job." And he kind of just went into detail about what I can expect on a parent level, and how to get through it. So, I mean, after that, it was just awesome. And it honestly helped my career knowing that I could do both, successfully. And just by kind of his guidance.
Can I talk?
You want to talk?
Hi.
Say hi.
Hi.
And it's nap time for this
Hey,
one.
Sonny,
So yeah. Say yes, sir.
Sonny, what do you think about Uncle Devon?
I love her.
Yeah, our kids play together. If there's ever anything that he needs or I need, and he knew where my heart was, and he just helped me get through it, especially in my last, couple years in WWE, and gave me pointers, and I just am forever thankful for that.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I saw it right on her face, the passion. And when I first heard about her, what got me was my sons, Terrence and Terrell. They were doing a tryout, and they said, "Yeah, this girl named Lacey Evans, she was pushing us and saying, 'Would your dad like that? Would your dad do this? Come on, don't embarrass your dad. What's wrong with you? Get up!'" Like she's like being like a drill instructor. He was like, "Yeah, that's what she was, Dad." I was like, "Oh, okay." He was like, "Yeah, but it was in a good way. It wasn't bad, Dad. It was good. It pumped us up." I was like, "Okay, cool, very cool, guys." And I was always grateful for Lacey for that. And I just saw how she was, because I know in this business people can take things like that, like being a family person and things like that, and try to make fun of it because you're not out partying, drinking, and doing what everybody else is doing, but you're more concerned about your family. And I think that's what it all should be about. Because, I got to say this, back in the Attitude Era, ECW era, ruthless aggression era, whatever era, the beginning of the PG era, so many guys were dropping left and right, dying because of the partying and things that they were doing. And if we could have stopped some of them from doing that and just made them concentrate more on their family and their well-being in their life, maybe a lot of them would still be around today, as opposed to being like, overdoses or things like that. Because this business can put one foot in the grave and the other foot halfway in if you let it. You get caught up in the glitz and the glamour, you get caught up in the partying, and it can take a hold of you. So you have to be very careful on how you present yourself now. Back in the Attitude Era, people were just running wild. It was like anarchy. There was no cameras in the phone. There were no real cell phones. If you had a cell phone, you were a drug dealer back then. Not everybody, it's not a day where everybody had cell phones, things like that, and phone and cameras in their phones. So it was a very different time. People got away with a lot of stuff. Can't do that now. And I'll be honest with you, I'm kind of glad about that, because again, we're saving lives by not having them go out there and party and take unnecessary stupid stuff. I'm sure some people still do it, but the percentage rate has got to be a lot lower.
For sure.
Speaking of saving lives, Devon, you had a pretty major health scare when you had a stroke that it was pretty tough. It was pretty tough, and the road to recovery was pretty difficult. Lacey, I'm saying Lacey, but her name is Macey, folks. You reached out to Devon, and Devon told the story of you packing up the family and actually showing up at the house with food and what have you. If you remember that moment there, please give us your side of that, Macey. What made you decide to go visit Devon as he was recovering there?
I mean, I just, like I said, family. I witness it, and so is he firsthand. With how hard it is on the road, leaving your family and giving everything you have to that business. And then to find that, and I'm not saying it's wrestling's fault, but our bodies go through so much with WWE, mentally, physically, emotionally. I haven't done it as long as men like Devon Dudley has, but watching firsthand these performers leave their family, get on the road, put their bodies through what they go through, and then, come back and they're expected to be parents and have successful marriages. And then it's like me and Devon spent way too much damn time together talking about the people we love the most, and knowing that, and I just know Taylor and his kids so well, knowing that they're sitting at home, and after everything this man has done for this business, he's sitting there looking at his family, probably with tears in his eyes, wondering what's next. I've given and I was like, fuck that. I said, we're going to Devon's right now. I said, we're all going to load up. We're going to go make sure he's all right. See if there's anything I could do. Because if and when it's my turn that I'm in a situation like that, giving everything I can to a business in order to support my family. And if I'm laid up, I know Devon would come bust my door down too. It was just that I know him personally as a dad and as a husband, and he's an awesome motherfucker. And there was no way that I was going to let him, go through that alone. And it's not, I didn't want to just do a phone call. I wanted to look him in the eyes and let him know that I'm there, for his wife, for his girls, for his boys, whatever I could do. And it was just cool that that I could be there for him.
And I tried my best to keep her away. She kept saying, listen, I'm on my way, fucker. And I went,
yeah.
I was like, you don't need to come. I was like, stay there and enjoy your family. She goes, no, I'm on my way. Give me your address. And I even tried to go, oh, wait a minute. Something's happening. I'll be right back. I got to go to the bathroom real quick. And I was like, I'll call you back. And I hung up the phone. And then all of a sudden, like 10, 20 minutes later, I get a phone call back. She goes, you still pissing, fucker? I was like, Lacey, don't have to come here. She goes, Devon, we're coming. Or I'll get either way, I'll get the address. I was like, fine. I was like, I tried my best to keep her away. She just would not stay away. It was funny. And I was grateful for her for that. People say in life and even in this business that women and men cannot be friends without something intimate going on. And this is not true, because me and Lacey are a prime example of that. I respect her. She respects me. She respects my family. I respect her family. We respect each other. And that's on the basis of why we get along so great, because of the fact we respect each other. And when people don't respect each other, that's when things go south and things happen. So that was one of the things that I loved about Lacey's and our relationship, is the respect that we have not only for each other, but for each other's family.
Macey, I wonder about something here, because you and I were talking offline about an interview you did back in 2021 on the Chasing Glory podcast with Lillian Garcia. And you went in depth about your life story and all the challenges that you've had to overcome. I mean, legitimately, you're as courageous a person as I've ever seen. I wonder how much of you being a survivor, being a warrior, I know that's a word that you often use, being somebody who, despite whatever has happened to you in life, you're focused on your family, building a loving and strong environment for them. How important is it for your friends to share those types of qualities? Because I know Devon is exactly that way as well.
I'm very, very, very particular on who I surround myself with. I have been my entire life because of my upbringing. There is a quote, it's birds of a feather flock together. And I'm very, very, like I said, I take that very serious. So even in WWE, he mentioned the drugs, alcohol. I'm straight edge. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I do nothing. So right there, that limited a lot of who I was around or spent any extra time with, that what little time we did have on the road. So people would go out. I'd go straight to my hotel room, or I'd go and start feeding my family. I'd go and start spending time with my husband. And same thing with today. I mean, I invested a lot. I stick around or surround myself with people that are on a positive path, a good mission. Because it's very easy to be sucked into a lifestyle that is not conducive to what you want out of your life. Just your mindset. I've got to be around people who love their family. I got to be around people who have good marriages. And if they don't, they're working on it, right? The march forward, people that are marching forward, because you got to be careful. That could bring you down real quick. When I was active duty, it's like the divorce rate, even marriages, not to bring that up, Devon, kind of touched on it, but marriage, we got 50% divorce rates right now. In the military, it was even worse. So statistically, I already got all of us. It's going to be very difficult. You add social media to the bunch, and then a job like WWE, it's like you got to be careful. So everybody that you're around and the moments that you spend and how you spend them are very, very important to me. And purpose. I surround my people who want to give back, and that kind of motivates me in all aspects of my life, as a mother, as a wife, as a business owner here at Sunny Summers Cafe. We just actually did our youth AA meeting. So yes, youth have a problem with addiction, and we've always provided AA meetings for adults, but I am very proud to say that now we also offer youth AA meetings to try to get these babies and these younger crowds, this younger generation, to realize that they, just like I, can one day at a time choose who they surround themselves with and what the hell they choose to do, and march forward going from there. So we actually last night wrapped up about 8:00 at night with our first youth AA meeting. So I take that very serious when it comes to who I surround myself with, because, that can change your life in many ways.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. You got to think about who you have around you before you start, letting people in. And I've learned over the years that if you're on the same page with the person that you're hanging out with, then chances are you're going to be okay. But the minute you start getting involved with people that's not on the same page as you or have the same values or what have you, that's when things go south. And that's when things happen, and probably why we're on such a high divorce rate right now with people, because it seems like people just change and don't think about who they let in their inner circle before they do, especially when it comes to your family.
Right. I completely agree. And so, yeah, that's kind of with that interview that he mentioned with Lillian Garcia. It's one of my favorite interviews that I've ever got the chance to do, because I did get to open up about my childhood and why I am the way I am. So, yeah, Devon, I can't agree with you more, man. That's why I think you and I get along so well, and why our marriages are doing so well, because we make sure that we put that first. There's no career on the face of this freaking earth that will come before how my husband feels when he lays his head at night, when he lays his head down at night, and how my kids feel when they go to bed, and how they feel when they wake up. I was telling, we were just talking before it went live, Devon, and I was explaining how when I was in WWE, I'm a wife, I'm a mother, been with my husband since 15, raising babies, homeschooling my girls. And I was lucky to be able to cook and provide a meal for my family one day a month. And that to me did not sit right. I'm very thankful for WWE. There's no hard feelings. They're awesome. But for me, that right there, when I was laying in bed at night and I would think that, I would just get sick to my stomach. There's some people with a passion that there's certain things you want to do in life, and provide a meal for my family from my hands as a woman and as a wife one day a month was not it, brother.
You see, this is why, and I got to be careful, Lacey, when I say this, because the dirt sheet riders are just looking to take everything I say and twist it. This is why I love her, because she is such a family person. She has her head on straight. She is a person that puts her family first and loves her family. Does not allow outside negativity to come in. And anybody that does have that, she's going to put the brakes on it right away. And it's just something that I really treasure with her and her relationship.
Or ignore it. We were also, me and Duke were also talking about that. It's like, you know, with how the world is and these dirt sheets and everything else. Hold on 1 second. Here, I got it.
Can I talk?
Can you talk? All right, say hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. But me and Duke were just talking about, I'm going to go get you this. Nope, you can't hold the phone till I'm done. We were just talking about how, you know, how angry the world gets in regards to stuff they have no idea about. And I just mentioned something about the Olympics, the boxer. Yeah, Devon, you know me. I'm going to bring that shit up. And I mentioned, I shared an article, had nothing to do with being trans. It was just what, in my opinion, of what's fair and what's not fair. And they had a shit fit. They were saying, you know, I'm spreading false information and, you know, I should be sued. And I sat back and I thought, like, man, spreading false information. It's like kind of like the time that for years, for months while I was WWE, I was the most racist person, or I was a homophobic person, or I was this and I was that. And not one of them motherfuckers know who I am. This is just something that they gathered from, I don't know. So I said, it's like garden food is more healthy. It was like an article. Who gives a shit? But when you have your head on straight and you know who the hell you are, that it doesn't bother you. You know, it's like, and it was wild to me that the whole world and the masses were getting mad about people's opinions of one thing, two things, doesn't matter. And they're losing sleep because it was 2 a.m, 3 a.m, and they're just still steady coming. And it's not just me. I just see this all the time. And when you're in a career such as we are, or we were, you got to be careful what you say. You got to be careful what you do. And it was so refreshing that I woke up the next morning, I got my coffee, and not one motherfucker was on the phone with me telling me, you got to take this down and you got to take that down and you got to delete that. And you now have to no, absolutely not. I'm not doing it, brother. I'm not anymore. Not now, not ever. It's crazy to me that the way this is how the world is, but I don't know. I just, it's wild. That's another thing in a career such as that you gotta, you know, work on and do and have to be so consumed in.
Well, I will say this, Lacey, and we're talking about that incident. You know, number one, you're not a racist. Okay. I can vouch for that. Okay. That's number two, homophobic, not at all. Listen, if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, you're in a locker room with women, and then a guy who's a transgender or a guy who's making that transformation comes into the locker room, and you feel uncomfortable changing in front of him. Listen.
Oh, yeah, you know the story. Yeah, I'll tell. And for those of you motherfuckers who don't, it was my husband. I've been with my husband, and I wish I was on video because I'm passionate right now. I have been with my old man since I was 15. Until I got my fan time, that's the only man who's ever seen my naked body. Okay, for one. You see, I did a plug there. It's Limitless Macey. Anyway, for two, he is the only man who's ever touched my naked body. Okay. And it was the first time. It was the first time that it was like it was on an indie show, and I was expected to change in front of these gay men. Period. It doesn't matter. I don't care if you're gay, straight. You're a man, and I don't want you to see my thong, brother. I don't want you to. So I was not comfortable. There was no way I was changing in that locker room. So I went and I changed somewhere else. And they got mad. I don't want you to see my leg back then. Even now, if I'm in face to face, like, no, hell, you ain't seeing my titties. You could pay for them now on 4G or online, 4K, whatever. But brother, no, sir. So, and then it went from that. And the guy's like, she's homophobic because no, hell no. I'm in love, bitch. I love my old man. And you're not seeing what little ass I got.
There you go.
In live, right in front. No, sir.
Yep. And you know, Lacey, it's funny because I I was upset when the stroke happened. I had another podcast called Table Talk, and I basically slipped and said something about the stroke, and the Dirt Sheet writers went crazy with it, had me dying. Like
Of
I was on
course.
my.
Of
It was
course. Yeah, of
insane.
course. That to hear them tell it, you're half dead on your deathbed, probably can't walk.
Oh,
What is it, homophobic and racist, and the world keeps turning. Like, fuck
listen,
them, Devon.
people who I had a relationship with in the business that I wrestled with, who had a podcast, was also doing the same thing, and I got pissed. So I went back on the show and I said, you know what? It's wrong. I said, number one, I'm not dying. Number two, you're sitting here looking at me because we had visual that time. I was like, I'm not dying. I'm not dead. So you people go fuck off. I was
Yeah.
like, you don't make me feel and make people think that I'm dying. I said, here's the deal. If I told you I was gay, then it would be like, oh my God, News Bulletin, Devon's gay. Oh my God, if I told you I was going to be on a RuPaul drag show, you would be like, oh my God, he's going to be on a RuPaul drag show. You would be putting that out
Oh,
left and right. But that's not the case. But here's the deal. Just so you dirt sheet writers, let me see what you're going to do. Okay, I'm gay. Not only am I gay, but I'm going to be on the RuPaul drag queen show. And
they're gonna clip that. They're gonna clip that one audio to
they
get their clicks.
Yep, they did. They took it. Oh, newsflash, Devon's gay. Devon said he's going to be on a RuPaul drag show. I'm like, no, you idiots. I was trying to make a point. And then I'm on Twitter and somebody said, hey, Devon, I heard you were gay. I'm like, no, I was trying to prove a point to these dirt sheet writers who are being idiots. And then one guy comes on and goes, that's messed up. How you would use that to when we're all trying to fight to get gay pride going and all of that, and you're going to use that as your platform to get your point across. That's just wrong, Devon. And we kind of went at it back and forth, me and this individual. But I'm like, look, man, I was like, my brother's gay. I have no problems with the gay people. I said, who you decide to lay with is your business. But I did that to prove a point that the dirt sheet writers are going to take what I said and twist it around, which is what they did. And, and they were like, oh, but that's still wrong. You shouldn't do that. There's a lot of us dying out here because we're trying to, show that we are here and we're not going anywhere. I said, I'm bravo. Bravo. I'm glad you're not. I'm like, no one's knocking gay people. I was using
They could it went over their heads completely. And while I see their point, if they should see ours. And you know what I think too? It's like, it's so wild how if we say something about gay or biology or XY chromosomes or men fighting or this and that, it's an uproar, right? Like, fuck you, you are the worst piece of thing on the track. You share an article about giving back or trying to change the world, or you're doing this event for alcoholics or addiction or mental health. Fucking crickets. They don't want to spread, discuss, talk about, highlight, share, none of that. But the minute they could jump on an assumption and share their negative opinion about some shit they don't know nothing about, then okay, clicks, trends, comments, everything. But anything positive, I'm over it, brother. I'm so done with it all that it's just crazy to me.
I mean, another thing what happened was, and I was giving Stephanie McMahon her props, about the kind of person she is, because I really like Stephanie McMahon a lot. We've gotten along since 1999 when I first came to the company until the present day. We basically talk about music and, the different genders of music that's out there and how we were like so in tune that we didn't realize that we liked a lot of the same stuff. So I did an interview and I was like, yeah, I was saying that, but they were like, well, would you date Stephanie? Well, I mean, she's married to Triple H, but back in the day, I don't see nobody that wouldn't have wanted to date Stephanie. So yeah, she had all the qualities. I love her. I said, let me tell you something. I'm infatuated with Stephanie, but I should have said admire, because the minute I said infatuated, brother, they ran to their computers and started clipping everything I said. Oh, Stephanie McMahon, Devon is in love with Stephanie McMahon. I'm like, I'm not in love with her. All I'm saying is that I admire the woman. So instead of saying admire, I said infatuated, which was the wrong word, but they took it out of content. And somebody else who has a podcast, who I was very good friends with, I was disappointed because his headline went, oh, Devon is infatuated with Stephanie McMahon. I'm like, no, man, he wants to marry Stephanie McMahon. No, I don't. She's married to Paul Levesque, Triple H. I'm married to Taylor Hughes. That's the way it is. I'm not looking to date Stephanie McMahon. You asked me a question about back in the day, or either one of us was married. Would I have? And I said, yes, I would have. If given the opportunity, I'd have been a fool not to. But I want to, marry her now. I'm happy where I am. I don't need that. And she's very happy. So stop the BS and just report real news, not fake news.
Yeah, but they're doing it for their clicks, and that's why I don't respond. Whenever I was labeled racist, WWE asked me to put out hell no. I'm going to my garden. I'm going to go feed my family, and respectfully, I'm not putting out a response to some bullshit. Not giving them my time. I was labeled as homophobic. WWE, will you put out nope, not doing that either. I don't know, Devon, I don't know how I lasted 7 years. I'm not putting out an apology for some bullshit that ain't fucking true. That they could go, autism denier. Will you delete that? No, it was an article. It was 20-second video about a guy explaining how back in the day they ate more out of the garden and had less diseases. But the motherfuckers didn't want to listen to that shit, did they? They just saw the headline, screenshotted it. I'm not putting out nothing for that. Neither, brother. Go look on my track record. I will not sit there and defend myself on some bullshit that ain't true. I won't do it now. I didn't do it then, and I'm not going to do it tomorrow because and same thing with this damn. Now that it's trending and people are still running their mouths, let's have that conversation about this biological Y chromosome popped up in a test. There's higher testosterone levels and he has an advantage. My daughter, fights. She just did her first cage fight and whooped that girl's ass. Now, as a mother, I don't want her to fight a boy. And I'll tell you a little story. She did tackle football at 9 years old, and I didn't want her to do it. But all the players were tiny little 9-year-old boys. She was the only female, and she was fast as fuck. I said, Summer, you could play this year. I said, next year when it gets into the 10, 11U, you're not playing. And there's 2 reasons why. Boys are faster and fucking stronger, and they're not going to hurt you. 1. 2, I'm not going to put your little ass in there and make them boys have to think twice before they lay your ass out. Let them play the game with the boys that they are. And I pulled my kid, and she didn't play the next year. She played that year, but the 10 and 11U, the boys are bigger. They're taller, they're faster, and they're a little stronger than 9U. And I didn't only pull my daughter because I didn't want her hurt. I pulled my kid because I wanted to let the boys do what boys do, and that's fucking play. Does that make sense? So I'm not just saying that there is a woman who has testosterone levels or whatever biologically is different and has advantages. I posted that because I too stand for what the fuck I believe in. And I pulled my daughter out of that shit because I believe what's right is right. I'm not going to have her running around up there with some 10, 11-year-old boys that want to fucking go, and they have to think twice before they lay my kid out. That's my beliefs, and I hold true to who the fuck I am in regards to my girls as well. I don't discriminate. There ain't no double downing on a motherfucking thing. My daughter, my female fucking kid that is built like a little lady, don't need to be in there with the fucking boys at 10 and 11U. So I pulled her ass so they could be boys. Does that make sense? And the same goes for women. I that's my beliefs. That's what I'm going to stand for. I'm going to protect my daughters, and I'm going to protect the men's sports as well.
Testify. That's all I got to say. Testify. Yes.
Macey Estrella is coming in hot here, folks. She is not holding back per usual, which that's exactly what we love. It is okay to have a perspective. It's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to love your family. And it's okay to set the record straight. And that's certainly what just happened here. Macey, what's the best way everyone can keep up with you and even check out your business sometime?
Yeah, so we have a Sunny Summers Cafe Instagram and Facebook. If there are any local people that need uplifting motivation, not just through coffee, but through services, seminars, free of charge. We do youth AA groups here. We do adult AA meetings here. in order to give back to the community. And I love what I do. I love that I can be home, give back to the community, talk about drug addiction, talk about mental health, provide services for those that need it. And I get to feed my damn family. Come on, brother. Rocking and rolling.
All night long.
Life has been different, and and two things that I love the most. Obviously, it's one, being able to be with my family, being able to make a difference on a larger scale, and not being held back. Because it is about money in that business. You know, if it doesn't make them money, it's not something that they want to discuss, highlight, or spend time on. And that was depressing for me. So the fact that I could create a cafe that literally that's the topic of discussion is bettering yourself and bright and literally sunshine and motivation is so cool to me. And then two, I don't have to worry about what I can and can't say. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. You could be gay as hell, brother. Come on in and sit down and talk to me. I don't care. Life is beautiful and people are amazing, but you could disagree and still be awesome. Because I'm telling you right now, I don't care if a car breaks down, if it has a rollover and is on fire. I'm still going to be a responder to that scene. I'm going to clear the airways, stop the bleeding, treat for shock, bandage the wounds. And the fact, if you're gay, if you're black, if you're straight, I don't care. You're a human being, and I'm going to be there. That's how I am in my life. But the way the world, you know, whatever they want to believe out there on the interwebs, they can run with it. I know who I am. And anybody who's ever met me, worked with me, that's a person I am.
I will testify to that 24/7.
Fantastic conversation there with Macey Estrella, a.k.a. Lacey Evans. Wow. First and foremost, she doesn't play games, man. That is a woman that is going to express her point of view. She's going to let you know exactly where she stands so there's no confusion. And I don't know, for me, that's refreshing. We don't have to agree on everything, but just the fact that she's a straight shooter and she's someone that puts family first, I can't argue with that. It's great stuff. It's great stuff. And it's no wonder why Macey and Devon are such great friends. I mean, they share a lot of similar qualities. Everyone who knows Devon, you heard Eric Bischoff talk about it. Devon is very serious about his family. He's very serious about his relationship with God. Very serious about his friends. You know, he's just a very caring and deliberately positive person. That's a great way to describe him. And certainly Lacey shares the same qualities. You know her as Lacey Evans. Her real name is Macey Estrella. Ironically, she has a sister named Lacey in real life, which is really interesting. And you heard her daughter, Sunny, who joined us for different periods of time during the conversation as well. It's good stuff. Really, really good stuff, and some great insight into why Macey Estrella, a.k.a. Lacey Evans, decided it was time for her to leave WWE. You know, she wanted to spend time with her family. She wanted to be able to prepare meals for her family. Something that may sound so simple, but for somebody who's constantly on the road, they don't get to do that very basic but very important thing. You know, it matters. It matters. And certainly her priorities are to her family first and foremost. I think it's cool that Macey opened up that cafe as well. I think that's really cool. So you can kind of kill two birds with one stone. You know, you have your business that you take care of. You're able to feed your family, see your family, family business, the whole 9 yards. That's good stuff. That's really, really good stuff. And I thought that was pretty hilarious. First and foremost, Sunny's Summer Cafe. Okay, that is Sunny Summers Cafe. That is the name of the business. You can find it on Instagram. Get more information about them as well. But the fact that they offer Alcoholics Anonymous meeting space, not only for adults, but for the youth. It's a big mission. It's a very, very big mission. And I commend Macey Estrella for dedicating her life to doing things like this. You know, We saw little glimpses of it in the WWE when she talked about the challenges that her father faced, addiction and what have you, and how that affected the family. So the fact that she has a business where she's helping people overcome addiction, cope with addiction, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. So she's a pretty dynamic person there. At Limitless Macey, that is her name on social media, where you can find all the other information, including her website that she was plugging there, folks, for everybody who's over 18, right? So, limitlessmacey.com. That's the website there. Check her out, certainly. And, of course, Devon Academy, for all you aspiring wrestlers out there, if you want to learn from one of the greatest of all time, right? If you want to go to a place that's reputable and get an excellent education in pro wrestling, visit www.dvonacademy.com. All right, you will not regret that for sure. And of course, you want to reach out to Devon. That's at TestifyDVON on social media. It's interesting, folks. It's interesting the past week we've had here. On the last episode of Devon and the Duke, you heard Devon delve a little bit into Will Washington, person who works behind the scenes at AEW, allegedly is Swerve's cousin. And Devon had been provided some information from people in AEW. They let Devon know their opinion of Will Washington, and it wasn't positive. And Devon came on the show and spoke about that a little bit. It went viral, and a lot of people had a lot to say about it. And unsurprisingly, Will Washington and his gang of merry humanoids, as I refer to them, especially coming from the Fightful camp and Sean Ross Sapp, those folks, they expressed a lot of frustration and anger and turned it into a crusade and trying to find other topics and whip everybody up into a frenzy. I got a couple of death threats and threats of bodily harm from some of these folks, which, I have all the screenshots. Don't worry. Even if you can get those messages deleted off of Twitter, don't worry. I got the screenshots. I'm keeping track. People were very upset over the audacity that people who work with Will Washington would express a lack of what? Respect for this guy, I guess? Frustration with him? People are upset about that. And it makes me scratch my head for this reason, folks. Anyone who's ever been in a position of leadership anywhere in any industry, of course people are not going to like you. No one likes the people in charge. That's kind of the point. Us versus them, right? So Will Washington is one of Tony Khan's assistants, and he's going around and giving people direction, people who feel that they know better, and I tend to agree with them. They're the experts. They're the wrestlers. I don't think this guy's ever been a wrestler in his life. It's not hard to believe that people would take issue with the guy. It's actually pretty common sense. So the frustration and the pushback on that is just weird. Somebody said, well, did you allow Will to tell his side of the story? Well, what side of the story could he have? If I say to you, some people that you work with said that they don't particularly like you, they don't trust you, what side of the story could you have? You couldn't say it's not true. you couldn't say that. So what are you going to say? But I digress. I said, something? Everyone gets a fair shot on any of my shows, whether it be Duke Loves Rasslin or Devon and the Duke. So I put it out there. I said, Will Washington's welcome to come on the show. He wants to express himself. And Will, to his credit, got back to me in a timely manner. I think it was less than a day. And he declined and had some disparaging things to say to me, which, whatever, man. I understand his feelings are hurt. I told him, I said, if what has been said about you is a misunderstanding, then I hope that you find a way to clear it up with the people that you work with. And if it's not a misunderstanding, then I hope things change for the better for everybody. I told them, pull up your skinny jeans, make good choices in life and say no to drugs. That's my response to the aggression and the frustration that individuals have when people have the audacity to have an opinion about them. It's just very strange. But I want to make something clear because, and I'm going to end on this note here, folks. Devon Dudley has been a pro wrestler almost as long as I've been alive. I'll be 42 later this year. Devon Dudley, he's been a pro wrestler almost as long as I've been alive. And he's a big grown man. We got 7 kids, a wife. This is a guy who's been all over the world and has won accolades all over the world. He's a Hall of Famer. Some folks said, well, how could you let Devon speak of Will that way? How could you let him? Brothers and sisters, I can't let a grown man do anything. They either do it or they don't do it. Some folks out there have this desire to control others. And it boggles my mind because I don't think that makes any sense. I'm not saying you shouldn't hold people accountable for the things that they say and do, but I'm not going to try to control you. I might try to shut you down if you're doing something that I feel is nefarious and that's bringing harm to people. Oh, I will shut you down. It doesn't matter how long it takes. I'm going to get there. But I'm not trying to control anybody. So it always boggles my mind when these goofballs hit me up and they express sentiments such as, how could you let Devon do that? It's very strange to me. Again, it is not hard to believe that a person that you work with, you would express dislike for that person. Every single person listening right now has worked with people that they don't like for one reason or another. It's just real life. So, and those aren't Devon's words, by the way. This is what Devon was told. He was very particular about pointing that out. This is what I was told on multiple occasions. He even talked about the occasions he was told. He even expressed how he had been behind the scenes at AEW on multiple occasions, so he got to observe Will Washington himself. He talked about it on the Jericho Cruise. This is not some guy who's stirring up anything. And certainly you know that because that's been the biggest reaction from everybody, no matter where you land. Well, Devon Dudley's not known for doing things. He doesn't stir things up. That's not the kind of guy he is. Exactly. So if he's telling you this, oh no, it's true. It's true. Somebody said this to him. It's true. Somebody said this to him on multiple occasions. It's true. And that's how they feel, whether you like it or you don't like it. So that is what it is. Some of you are going to be upset that I had Lacey on the show. And, for those of you who take offense, good for you. It's okay for you to disagree with any stance that she has, but it's her life. And she's going to live her life the way she's going to live her life. And that's okay. So, if you take issue with us highlighting Macey Estrella, a.k.a. Lacey Evans, good for you. I hope that keeps you warm at night. Anyway, till next time, folks, listen. Be kind to yourselves and be kind to others. As always, Duke Loves Rasslin on Facebook, on Twitter, dukelovesrasslin@gmail.com. Send in your birthday shout-outs. Send in your questions, your comments. Who else do you want to hear on the show? Because Devon, he pretty much knows everybody. So if there are any other guests that you would love to hear Devon talk about his relationship with them, let us know. Take it away, Tony Schiavone.
This is Tony Schiavone, and we're desperately out of time on Duke Loves Rasslin.